Hi there, very good morning to you wherever you are. My name is Benedict. Welcome to the sports segment here on the AM show. Well, last night we saw action in the English FA Cup. Arsenal are through to the next stage. They beat Portsmouth. Later tonight, Liverpool will be hoping to bounce back to winning ways after their very first defeat of the season came last weekend to Watford. They are up against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. We'll do a preview and also show you highlights of what happened yesterday. But we have to start here on the local scene, and Black Stars coach CK Akono is expected to name his team for later for this month's Africa Cup of Nations doubleheader against Sudan. Well, this will be the first call-ups CK will be making since taking charge of the team in January. Well, let's go over to the phone lines and do more in terms of what to expect this afternoon in CK, or actually this morning when CK Akono names his squad for the doubleheader, as I mentioned earlier. And Sheikh Tofik, as a football analyst, journalist, colleague, joining me on the phone line. Sheikh, thanks so much for your time this morning here on the show. First of all, what kind of squad do you anticipate CK will name?
Well, thank you very much. I think that considering what has been going on in the Ghana Premier League of late, of course, my expectations are that CK Akono will name as many as possible players who are in top form in the Ghana Premier League, you know, in the 23-man squad that he's going to name this afternoon.
Maybe I'm talking about as many as players you're looking at. What number are you looking at?
I'm expecting as many as about 7 players to be named by CK
7
Akono
players in the Premier League. That's
Come
amazing. You said 7 players in the Ghana League.
Yes, 7 players
That's
in the Ghana
interesting.
Premier League.
Wow. Okay,
yes,
please go ahead.
So in the 23-man squad, that is the number of players that I'll be expecting in the Ghana Premier League. And, you know, considering the form of some of these players, of course, Yaya Mohammed, who has been playing for Aduana Stars and has been doing so well, is a player that myself and others of Ghanaians are expecting to see in the squad that CK will be naming this afternoon. And a couple of other players, Richard Ata of Accra Hasuku, who has also been doing very well in the sticks. Justice Blay of Asante Kotoko, Koyo Amwakun, who has also been doing very well as a right back for Ashanti Gold, Zakaria Fuseni, Emmanuel Nete of Hasselhoek. So these are the players that on my side I'll be expecting to see in the squad when CK Akono finally names it.
All right, then I'm sure it will come as a huge disappointment to you should CK not, you know, at least give no more than 5 of the players you've mentioned. But some have also said that in our last 2 games against South Africa and Sao Tome, the team we used relatively a new squad with some of the players that we introduced. Why don't we keep that team and maybe 1 or 2 new additions?
Well, that argument cannot be flawed. I think that most of the players that Coach Kwesi Appiah invited to the squad were new, but not entirely, because if you look at a player like Alfred Duncan, Duncan has been in and out of the team, so you cannot consider him as a new player. But the likes of Kudus Mohammed,
Baba Idrisu, Mohamed Salisu, who actually picked up an injury before the game.
All these players were new players when Coach Kwesi Appiah invited them. And of course, I expect to see these players coming back in the CK Akono squad. But of course, there are other players who are also performing now. You agree with me, Benedict, that the call-up of players into the national team is not largely depending on the time that they were invited into the national team, but their current form.
Yeah.
And a player like Samuel Tete has been performing so well for his side in Austria, both in the Europa League and in the Australian Bundesliga.
Yeah, that's very important.
So if a player like Samuel Tete does not get a call-up, personally, I would be shocked. Again, Majid Ashmeru has also been doing very well.
Yeah.
For Red Bull Salzburg, and both in the Champions League and in the league in Austria. So some of these players, and then again Mohamed Salisu, who is currently one of Ghana's top performing players in the
Spanish La Liga,
plays for Real Valladolid and is doing so well. You remember when Coach Kwesi Appiah named his side, the last time that Coach Kwesi Appiah was a coach of the Black Stars and called his team without calling John Entry.
Yeah.
A lot of people made a lot of arguments about why John Entry should have been invited into the national team. So for me, if a player like John Entry is also not invited this time around, I'll be surprised.
Okay.
So these are the surprises that, you know, if I don't see in the team, I'll be Samuel Tete, Majid Ashimero, Mohamed Salisu, John Entry, and perhaps, you know, Quatin, who plays for Bordeaux in France.
Okay.
He's played for all the junior sides of France, but yet to play for the senior side, and he's ready to play for Ghana.
Okay, so you expect to see 7 home-based players in the team and also some new players in the squad. But of course, after the announcement of the squad, CK will answer questions from the media. I mean, what would be that question that Sheikh Tofik would want to put to CK Akono?
My question will largely depend on the players that he will name. So depending on the list that will come out, that will inform the questions that I will ask. But of course, if I don't see the likes of Samuel Tete, Majid Ashimero, Mohamed Salisu, you know, Quatin, John Entry in the list, then obviously I'll be forced to ask questions as to why these players were left out. And again, considering the home-based players, if Yaya Mohammed or Zakaria Husseini, Richard Atta, Justice Blake, Kojo Makon, Emmanuel Neti aren't able to make the list, then Coach Akono should explain to Ghanaians why these informed home-based players have not been able to make the list when he named his maiden Black Star squad.
Sheikh, thanks so much for your time this morning here on the show. Really appreciate it. So that was Sheikh Tofik, football analyst, speaking to me on what he expects in terms of CK Akono's announcement of his squad for next month or later this month's doubleheader. The Nations Cup doubleheader will play against Sudan here in Ghana at Cape Coast Stadium and also go away for the second leg. But one of the players who will be hoping to make CK Akono's squad is Jonathan Mensah. Currently, he's the new captain of his Major League Soccer side, that's Columbus Crew, and he becomes the first Ghanaian and also the first African to lead the club. He's been speaking to me.
I was a bit surprised because, yeah, even though I captained the team for some games during last season and throughout preseason as well, I was the captain. So, you know, preseason and stepping in while the captain wasn't around was okay, but knowing that I was the captain now was, you know, something huge for me and a big surprise as well. Being one of the experienced guys on the team, you know, I've been with this club. This is my 4th season. They really look up to me, and you know, that's a big responsibility on its own. And now me having the armband as one of the leaders of the team, big responsibility. So I just need to be always leading by action and make sure that you know, I'm always willing to be educated and educate others as well if needed. I want to just, you know, do my best for this team. I want to make sure that whenever the name Jonathan Mensah comes up, it's on the positive side, because, you know, I just came here to work, and that's what I'm doing, trying to doing my best to inspire and encourage the young ones. You know, they should put the work in, because if you put the work in, everything will fall in place, you know, with God's grace. So I really don't want to talk about legacy right now, because I have a whole lot of years ahead of me. Praying to God for good health, protection, and yeah, for me to be able to always, you know, keep going, because me being out there is a big inspiration for others, even though I don't see it right now. But yeah, I get hundreds of messages, people telling me how I inspire them, so I want to keep growing that.
All right, so Jonathan Mensah is the new Columbus Crew captain in the Major League Soccer. Well, away from that, British Ghanaian born Edin Ketia continued fine scoring form as he scored and helped Arsenal win their game at Portsmouth to make the next stage of the English FA Cup. Highlights of the game for you.